Hello and welcome. I am Gimba Umar. Tonight, the Nigerian police begins the process of returning full civil authority to the recaptured territories of Adamawa, Borno and Yobe states, with the hoisting of the Nigerian flags in all three states. The All Progressives Grand Alliance celebrates the Supreme Court's ruling affirming Victor Oye as the chairman of the party with pomp and pageantry. The U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry applauds President Muhammadu Buhari's anti-corruption drive as he asks that the entire world must stand up against corruption. And at least 10 people are dead in parts of the United States where heavy snowfall and a huge blizzard is sweeping across the eastern region.
And on business news tonight, conversations are expected to continue among global leaders as the World Economic Forum in Davos clusters, Switzerland, comes to an end.
And in sports news, angry fans boo Manchester United after the team's 6th league defeat of the season.
We begin tonight with efforts by the government to establish civil authority in the three states of Adamawa, Borno and Yobe states ravaged by insurgency. In line with this anti-insurgency efforts, the Nigerian police sent a delegation from the force headquarters, led by DIG Operations Mr. Shotonye Wakama, to the mobile police training camp in Gwoza, Borno State.
Hello?
The road to Gwoza is a 6-hour journey spanning over 350 kilometers. 5 bridges have been blown out by the insurgents, making the journey a Herculean one. Gwoza is now a ghost town with very little civil population. Here, the military are in charge, and the infamous Sambisa forest is just a stone throw away. This is where the mobile police training camp is located. It's described as one of the best police training camps in the country. When the insurgents attacked the camp in June 2014, a sizable number of policemen were killed, while some disappeared and could not be traced till date. The convoy of the DIG drives carefully into the training camp, staying within the mine-free zones. The telltale signs of insurgents are still visible on some buildings. The DIG recounted the sacrifices of gallant officers in the fight against insurgency.
Some time ago, we lost this place, but with the help of our colleagues in the military and even our own policemen, we are now back here and we're here to stay. And that's what these flags symbolize. Is that understood? Yes. We're going to bring our men back here in very short time, maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks from now, and we're going to dominate this area again. Amen. And in the league with the military, Lieutenant Colonel here, we shall sort out this area and ensure there will be no infiltration, and then we'll rebuild. Amen. The fact that our property has been destroyed does not mean that life has ended. We shall continue. The police force remains, the Nigerian army remains, and the good people of Nigeria will still remain.
The commanding officer of the 143 Rangers Battalion, Lieutenant Colonel Kolawole Ibanji, says this is the beginning of the process of handing over of civilian authority to the police.
We've done our best, and I think it's most appropriate the civil authority is coming so that they can also assist. Well, I pray the civil authority coming very early so that we can also forge ahead and perform our military duties.
Many Nigerians will be glad to know that the war against terror is not only on course, but is being won by Nigerian forces.
Well, I'm now being joined on the news at 10 by Deputy Inspector General of Police, Shotonye Wakama, who led the mission to Gwoza today to shed more light on the situation. I want to thank you so much indeed for coming on the news at 10. What message is the government sending to the entire world, hoisting flags in recaptured territories from Boko Haram? if you could hear me, I'm just asking you, what message is the government sending out to the entire world now that it's hoisting flags in recaptured territories from Boko Haram? Yes, I can hear you. If you can hear me clearly, I understand the line is a little bad at this point, but what message is the government sending out to the rest of the world, hoisting flags in recaptured territories from Boko Haram?
One of hope, one of unity. We will remain unified as a country.
We do sincerely apologize our inability to get across to the DIG Shotonye Wakama, but as soon as we have that established link, we will get back to him to have a discussion. In the meantime, the Nigerian army says that troops fighting Boko Haram militants in Borno have killed over 20 terrorists and freed 370 persons held hostage by the sect members. Deputy Theatre Commander of Operation Lafia Dole, Major General Leo Irabo, told journalists in Maiduguri that the soldiers also intercepted suicide bombers who attempted to infiltrate the state capital. He adds that 2 of the alleged suicide bombers blew themselves up, while the 3rd, who targeted soldiers at the checkpoint, was shot.
A fighting patrol in Afe, Kudie, Sauna, Dika, Mejiketa, and Mida general area. During the operation, the team made contact with the Boko Haram at Kudie, and 20 Boko Haram terrorists were killed, while 3 rifles, 41 motorcycles were destroyed. 370 hostages were rescued and brought to the IDP camp in Dikwa. Also around Huyum, Jeje, and Diba villages, the terrorists, citing own troops, abandoned their families behind. And those that they abandoned behind include 5 women and 12 children. However, because of the vigilance of our troops, 4 of the BHTs were killed. The women are currently undergoing interrogation, and it is instructive to know that in all these encounters, the Nigerian Air Force provided close air support and surveillance cover to the ground troops.
Nigeria is making moves to strengthen its partnership with France as the battle continues to end the insurgency in the northeast. The Minister of Interior, Lieutenant General Abdulrahman Dambazo, told journalists in Abuja, the Federal Capital Territory, that the federal government is seeking support in the areas of training, logistics and information gathering. He was speaking after a meeting with the French ambassador to Nigeria.
And of course, we have a long-standing relationship with France, which bordering on the areas of training and logistics. Currently, they have some engagements with Nigerian police, and hopefully with some of the other services we're having under Interior. They recognize that the Ministry of Interior is the hub of public safety and security. And they want us to see how we can relate with our counterparts in France. That is the equivalent of the Minister of Interior. The whole idea is to see how we can get put our heads together in order to fight the menace of terrorism that is a global threat.
Let's now take you back to Yola, where we were trying to establish communication with the Deputy Inspector General of Police, Mr. Shotonye Wakama. I understand that he's on the line now. He led the mission to Gwoza earlier today. I want to thank you so much indeed for joining us on the News at 10. What message is the government sending to the entire world, hoisting flags in recaptured territories from Boko Haram? I do sincerely apologize our inability to get across to him at this time. We will, however, do that as soon as we can. The welfare of retired military officers should be made paramount by successive administrations to boost the morale of serving officers. Well, this is the view of some retired military officers who spoke with Channels Television after the celebration of the Armed Forces Remembrance Day. In this special report, our correspondent, Innie Thompson, highlights the expectations of retired military men from the government and the society at large.
While the drums of celebration in memory of the armed forces was loud on January the 15th, it also attracted some retired servicemen. But for them, it wasn't a time to celebrate.
No money to feed ourselves, to feed our family. Now we are expecting about our bodies. About 3 years ago, they are not paying the money. They are starting to pay the money after 300. How much are we going? When are we going to collect the money? About 3 years money when they hold us, they are not paid.
Even those who seem comfortable now still remember the sacrifices made when in service.
When I became the commander of the multinational joint task force, I was based in Maiduguri this time. I remember that time we were getting like 100 naira a day in terms of allowance. Meanwhile, here I was. I had some civil aeroplanes that were detached to me, and pilots, because we had to pool all national resources to complement what the Air Force had. So some of them, like the aeroplanes belonging to the Border Patrol unit, they had cameras on them. Some of the pilots in that group who were detached to us as civilians, I happen to have trained them somewhere along the line because I'm a training captain. And where they come from, their allowance in a day is 10,000 naira per day, whereas we in the Air Force, we are 100 naira a day.
Scenes like this have prompted the call that the memory of Nigeria's fallen and even living heroes be celebrated beyond one day.
Those things that affect them should also be followed up on, and probably even you give feedback by the next Armed Forces Remembrance Day. We should be able to look at Remembrance Days where we should come and not only count our losses, but count the gains too.
The services have Directorate of Veteran Affairs, and the Navy, I know, we have a Director of Veteran Affairs that can coordinate whatever is coming.
Part of the responsibility is also on individual officers to prepare for their future.
You plan your life, and if necessary, you train yourself in one area or another.
Beyond the government and the military, Nigerians have been asked to show more appreciation to the military, serving and retired, in their interactions daily. Innie Thompson reporting for Channels Television News.
In part 2, after the break, our special report examines the foray of men into female-dominated professions. Stay with us.